I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexually.
Big mama. Yeah.
Big mama. That big mama.
She would take pictures of herself in a bikini and upload them to her lonely male followers on social media. Then Angel Reese would turn around and complain about being over-sexualized. Lonely men keep telling me to take more clothes off. It's so unfair. This week, Angel Reese, I guess,
athlete also voiced her displeasure with the attention she gets off the court. Angel Reese talked about how being sexualized in the media made her feel like a victim, but then something unexpected happened. As soon as the Fever demolished the Sky by 27 points at the United Center, she immediately started posting thirst traps on social media. If you are eagerly awaiting Reese's next mishap, write something along the lines of "Fire the baby giraffe." Down below, the basketball gods dealt out some immediate retribution in front of a sold-out audience, and the hypocrisy is unbelievable. Let's go.
Nobody, like you got no time. You literally got a bra on and booty shorts on with your booty cheek hanging out the bottom of it. Like, why?
I don't really get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And I just try to stand strong for my teammates because I don't want them to see me down and not be there for them. So
this scene. Nearly 19,000 people attended the first ever WNBA game held at the United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls. What's even more wonderful about it? Chicago's house was invaded by the Indiana Fever, and they totally left their three largest pieces intact while destroying the Sky. There was no Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, or head coach Stephanie White. Just a group of ambitious athletes who wanted to prove that they could embarrass Angel Reese on her court without the help of their greatest players.
To see a single example of Angel Reese being a leader outside of rebounding her own missed layups. What does Angel Reese do? What is her contribution? You tell me, because I'm not seeing it. I know I'm harsh on Angel Reese, but she considers herself a star. If you're going to call yourself a star, I expect you to perform like a star, especially in big moments. Caitlin Clark was injured. Angel Reese was the only star on the court last night. And for 27 minutes, she completely
Let's face it, that night everyone believed the Sky would take advantage of the Fever's missing parts, but Kelsey Mitchell had other plans. She dominated the match, making 5 of her 11 shots to collect 17 points when you could sense the change in momentum as Chicago supporters recognized that Indiana's role players were tearing apart their team. Mitchell's statement shots had the United Center crowd quiet, and she wasn't just making jumpers.
A lot of reaction coming in from last night's drubbing, destruction, annihilation, cremation, whatever you want to call it, roasting, sauteed, whatever your form of cooking may be. But the Indiana Fever absolutely dismantled the Chicago Sky.
With a rhythm that pleases coaches, Lexi Hall made baskets from beyond the arc when she arrived ready to work in what is proving to be a breakout season. She even hit 500 points in the second quarter, which is another noteworthy accomplishment. Hall's shooting efficiency was exactly what the Fever needed to stretch Chicago's defense and give her teammates open opportunities, while Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint like she owned it and made Angel Reese look completely bewildered on both sides of the game.
To shoot. Boston this time, working against Reese, pivots, puts it up, and one opportunity. Aaliyah Boston clearing out all the traffic.
Who only managed to score for points on 2 of 7 shots for a dismal 28.6% shooting percentage, was heartbreaking to witness. These weren't challenging looks or contested shots. Instead, we're discussing the type of every time Ree walked the court, her teammates could only watch as she clanked shot after shot as her fever went down because she was minus 20 for the game. In their sleep, high school athletes create layups.
Part 38! Let's get it! Life throws her lemons. She makes bricks. Bang! PSA to anyone watching, she is right-handed. Right-handed, by the way. He missed the rim by 3 feet, man. Bang! I gotta say, this is my favorite summer sitcom. Pecan? Butter pecan? Bang! Here's a stat. She's been blocked 20 times, and she's only made 21 hoops.
Following 13 strong points from Natasha Howard, Arie McDonald, who recently signed a hardship contract, entered the game and scored 12 points with 4 steals. McDonald seemed more relaxed in her first encounter with what Reese accomplished in building pales in comparison to the kind of forethought and depth that sets championship firms apart from those that rely on social media drama to stay relevant.
But both teams facing a little bit of adversity, having certain players out or not at full capacity.
McDonald, a huge triple in the corner. Mitchell, patient in the corner, flips it up top. Boston, other side. McDonald, another 3. I'm loving it.
Take a moment to think about this. The last minutes of the game were too brutal for the Chicago supporters, who had spent a lot of money to watch their team play in the biggest venue in the city. The true celebrity power was evident that evening, as some fans even approached Caitlin Clark for signatures during warm-ups. Not only did the Sky lose, but everything they had completely collapsed. It became clear which side had its priorities. Straight and which was still figuring out the difference between Instagram posts and basketball when the final bell rang on that 27-point bloodbath. But the fact that it wasn't even their worst game versus Indiana this season just serves to further shame Angel Reese and the Sky. Chicago's alleged stars were easily outplayed, outshot, and outworked by the Fever supporting cast.
In the crowd, getting there early, saying, "Hey, Caitlin, can you sign my jersey? Hey, Aaliyah, can you sign my shirt? Hey, Sophie, can you sign my picture?" There were people asking for autographs in the Chicago Sky crowd that weren't even born yet the last time the Chicago Sky scored this little amount of points. There were people in the crowd who weren't even a thought in their parents' mind at the time that the Chicago Sky last scored at least 52 points, the lowest point total since 2000.
What's so remarkable about the United Center loss by 27 points? Reese and the Chicago Sky should have been celebrating because they outperformed the Fever in their season opening game on May 17th at Indianapolis Gainbridge Fieldhouse. In a 93-58 thrashing that made the last recent loss seem like a contest, the Sky were shut out by 35 points. Aaliyah Boston pushes it, making it somewhat firm, and Reese gets to her feet. Rather than go up to Caitlin, look at her Angel. Reese is upset. Oh my, whoa, such a hilarious look. After a few moments, she was still going, as I could see. What's happening? Let's revisit that May afternoon when Angel Reese believed she could intimidate Caitlin Clark into surrendering by playing aggressively. The game was becoming more tense, as Reese tried to make an impression with hard fouls and aggressive play. She spoke, pushed, and did everything, but I don't know, man, but I thought Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were cool. Angel said, "You look at her," as she stood up. Oh my goodness, she was going for it. Family, oh my god. The amusing thing now is that Caitlin Clark was leaving while sniffing. Please wait while I try to get a shot. You could see her attempting to get into Clark's head with the kind of antics that succeed in college but fall flat against professional players who have seen it all before. She was making shots when her team needed them most. Advantageous angle. I see. Here is a picture of Caitlin Clark's face. Giggles. Things start to become intriguing at this point. Reese was too preoccupied with playing enforcer and presumably listening to crowd noises that might or might not have been there to remember the part where you're supposed to play basketball. She only managed 12 points on a dismal 2 of 7 shooting effort that evening, but she did pull down 17 rebounds, which seems remarkable until you admit that most of those were the consequence of her own missed shots and her teammates' failure to capitalize on easy opportunities. In response to Reese's rugged play, Indiana displayed the kind of professional poise that separates competitors from imitators, along with accurate ball movement and efficient shooting. Every time Reese tried to make the game into a dramatizing and intimidating game, the Fever did what championship teams do: let their basketball speak for itself. Without getting sucked in by Reese's antics, the Fever kept scoring and pulling away until the game was out of reach for Sky fans. When Chicago lost by 35 points, this ought to have been a major wake-up call. The Sky's main player seemed more interested in instigating debates than coming up with offensive plays for her teammates. Their defensive rotations looked haphazard, and their offensive execution was non-existent. This is a fundamental breakdown of everything you're supposed to do as a basketball team, not just a terrible shooting night or a few unlucky bounces. You would assume that following a 35-point loss in you would think that Angel Reese would go back to the gym and practice her fundamentals in front of a national audience during the summer rather than spending it perfecting her shooting technique, analyzing film, and finding out how to help win basketball. Such humiliation should serve as incentive for a professional athlete to prove the doubters wrong. But did Reese learn anything from it? According to the data, May Beatdown spent more time planning her next social media post than practicing her layup technique. Although it is technically better, the Sky lost 2 games against Indiana by 27 points rather than 35, demonstrating their complete inability to compete with a hot team that wasn't even playing at its best. This trend is supported by the data. The same individual was at the center of the Fever's to devastating losses, which came as they were building unity and the kind of depth that wins championships. Angel Reese seems to have been distracted by something other than putting the ball. Angel, the timing of what happened next in the basket is just amazing. Reese's voice was filled with fury as she said how she tries to ignore it and how I just try to remain strong in the face of all the criticism and scrutiny she receives. Reese disclosed that she had been sexually abused, repeatedly attacked, and threatened with death. She presented herself as a helpless victim who wants to be valued just for her basketball prowess and not assessed on any other factor. Mother, way, big even if it doesn't appear that way since I'm tall. That enormous mama is so proportionately large that I know what I'm talking about when she mentions the $100 song. But this is where the story takes a surprising turn. Less than a week after that heartbreaking interview about being unfairly sexualized, when Angel Reese posted a video of herself twerking with rapper Sexy Y Red that had nothing to do with basketball, the internet went berserk. I think it's disrespectful that people were taking screenshots of her issues and putting them right next to the offensive content she was posting, highlighting the obvious inconsistency. This is not at all cute, really. What does that have to do with basketball? Don't criticize her, though. Don't do it. RHS, it's a boy, which is great for a supposed role. Provide a good example for young women. It's awful because the video was a full-fledged production that she clearly planned and shared to get the most attention, not just a short anecdote that disappeared. It was clear that fans weren't sure what they were supposed to think. Was she being treated unfairly, or was she actively engaging in the identical behavior she was denouncing in Kathy Engelberg? Fans were calling it tacky and embarrassing. In the comments, there is room for hate, but you expect people to not criticize athletes who post such things. That will never occur. Your league's players will be criticized. As previously stated, I think she will quit basketball in 2 to 3 years, pursue her goals of being a social media influencer and podcaster. She isn't particularly interested in playing basketball. If she does, she might play in a league that isn't as competitive as the WNBA, but her style seems more suited to that league. Angel Reese is well known for sharing pornographic films, highly sexualized photos, and obscene apparel, among other things that have nothing to do with basketball. She appears to be producing an image and then gets offended when people notice it, and she then looks astonished when people respond to what she's sharing. Fans had strong reactions, pointing out in real time the glaring contradiction between her words and her behavior. This is not how Caitlyn would ever degrade herself. She just wouldn't. No. Let's face it. What do we do about the way other athletes handle their social media presence? Take note of how Lexi Hull and Aliyah Boston of the Fever share content regarding team celebrations, basketball highlights, and supporting their teammates. They only share genuine moments that align with their stated desire to be acknowledged as athletes when they upload personal content. The primary focus of the Fever's social media presence is commemorating their victories and encouraging teamwork instead of igniting controversy to get attention. Clark has been the subject of considerable criticism for the last 2 or 3 years. When Caitlin Clark was seen twerking with Machine Gun on social media, I couldn't think of a single time where she humiliated the league or herself. I've never seen Steph Curry publicly disparage the NBA or himself. Kelly, players like Caitlin Clark, who keeps the emphasis on her basketball prowess and allows her performance to speak for itself, have a very different style from Reese, established a substantial following by maintaining consistency in her actions and message. She doesn't complain about getting attention and then go after it with nasty posts that have nothing to do with her sport. I think what Angel Reese really wants, and this is just my guess, I don't know her, is to be appreciated. She wants to shake her ass and win over lonely men, which is all well and good. When you abuse yourself on social media, it's hard to get respect. Although she isn't considered the league's face by most, Angel Reese is. There are expectations and obligations that come with being the league's face. The true problem is that, while you're preparing thirst trap content and managing social media drama, you're not working out to improve your photography technique. The complete story may be seen in the numbers from both of the games against the Fever. Angel Reese was preoccupied with things other than basketball, but the Fever players were practicing and the chemistry involved in game creation. Fans start to doubt if you're serious about basketball or just trying to get attention when you publicly complain about being sexualized and then share content that sexualizes yourself right away. The basketball gods appear to be aware of this conflict as well, and they responded perfectly by revealing her actual focus through consecutive lopsided defeats. This calls into doubt her actual priorities and harms her reputation as a professional athlete. Clothing. Angel Reese looked stunning. She put a lot of effort into choosing the ideal clothing. Are my boots and jacket the same? Do my hat and gloves match? After being destroyed on the basketball floor, Angel Reese is too busy playing victim and setting hunger traps to confront the reality. Angel Reese put a lot of effort into this ensemble, which begs the issue of whether she focused more on honing her basketball talents or on her pregame catwalk looks. With their depth, cohesion, and players who prioritize basketball, the Indiana Fever are making a lasting impression on the floor. The return of Caitlin Clark in health in 2025 is already anticipated by fans, and this team will have even more devoted supporters who value winning games over stirring up controversy. Championship culture is what the Fever have shown they can beat you with or without their best players. Comment below if you can't wait to see Reese's next gaffe. Fire the baby giraffe below by liking, subscribing, and turning on all notifications so you never miss anything. See you in the upcoming video. On the screen, click the video.